They consider themselves descendants of an ancient tribe in existence in the Promised Land for thousands of years. However, returning to home soil, they've been faced with government oppression and have been struggling to be properly recognised. RT's Paula Sleer went to hear their story.
Deep in Israel's Negev desert are the remnants of an ancient people trying to build a modern homeland. But these mostly black Americans are not Jews, nor do they profess to be. Instead, they call themselves African Hebrew Israelites, descendants of ancient Israel.
We sang about the River Jordan. We didn't sing about Mali or Songhai, Timbuktu. We sang about Jericho, Jerusalem, and Canaan's land.
And the songs were passed down through the generations born and brought up in the United States. They believed that when the ancient Jerusalem temple was destroyed by the Romans, their ancestors fled to West Africa, from where they were taken to America as slaves. In 1966, a Chicago steelworker, Ben-Ami Ben Yisrael, had a vision that it was time to return home.
Everyone is called according to their portion. And our portion was, that to establish the kingdom of Yah. And the kingdom of Yah represents a new idea, upon the planet.
And so Ben-Ami set forth with some 400 people who, much like Moses in the Bible, spent 2.5 years wandering in Liberia before reaching the Promised Land. When Ben-Ami arrived here in 1969, just under half of those who'd left America with him had managed to finish the journey. This was to become their home here in the Negev desert. But successive Israeli governments made their lives difficult. Because ironically, while the country is founded on the so-called law of return, these returnees are not seen as Jewish, although many feel the issue runs deeper than that.
When you get down to it, the world still has a problem with color. It's just a matter of color.
And so these people of color are often dismissed by mainstream Israeli society. For years, their children could not attend the local schools. They had no health care. They were marked for deportation. But despite the obstacles and their ongoing struggle for recognition, they take pride in their traditions.
When we understand the dynamics of what is taking place.
They're polygamous, strict vegans, make sure everyone follows an exercise program, and are big supporters of preventative health care.
We are an integral part of the state of Israel. This was the vehicle that was used to bring us back to the Promised Land.
And it's here in the desert wasteland that the community has multiplied more than 60-fold since it first came to the Negev. They say their intention is to be an example of peace and light to other nations and worship God, not religion. Paula Sleer, RT, Dimona.
Most Israelis, like former Interior Minister Avraham Porez, dismiss their claims to be recognised as Jews.
Are they Jewish?
No.
Why?
Well, they are not. Because they are not recognized by the rabbis as Jewish. They are, I don't know what their religion is, but it's not actually Jewish.
Tehillah ben Israel and Inan ben Shalith were among the first batch of 39 pilgrims to follow Ben-Ami to Israel. In 1960s America, they said they were still treated like slaves. Like most here, they were searching for a better life and a way out of their drug and crime-ridden ghettos in Chicago.
If I had stayed in America, to be honest, I would be dead. Because in America I drank and I smoked. And that's not a way to live. If you're drinking and if you're smoking, then you're going to have a short life.
When we found the Hebrew Israelites, we knew that was the answer. Because the goals were to make life better for us. And we could see a future in it for us and for our children.
So far, the Israeli government has rejected their claims and denied them citizenship under the law of return, which says one grandparent has to be Jewish.
They denied us status. According to them, we were not considered Jews as they consider Jews. So they denied us status, and everybody would be making jokes about the Queen of Sheba and Solomon. And they used to make little funny jokes. Maybe we could trace our way through that line, because no one had ever heard of people of color being considered Hebrew or Jew, as they consider Jew. So it was a big problem.
The African Israelites' claim to the right of return is that as a tribe of Judah, they fled ancient Israel into Africa after the Roman conquest of Jerusalem in 70 AD and reached as far as West Africa.
You find tribes who trace their descendants to this part of the world and to this land in particular. And so those of us who are on the west coast of Africa were taken into the Americas during the Great Slave Trade.
Scholars say the evidence for this is tenuous at best, and Israeli authorities have tried to expel the community several times. The African Israelites feel discriminated against by the State of Israel because many other ethnic groups like the Ethiopians and Russians have been granted citizenship.
I mean, we keep the laws that are laid down in the Torah. We keep all of the laws. So we keep Shabbat, we keep the Chagim, and we follow, the commandments that were laid down. So, I mean, who could define, what else do you have to do?
Well, it's a very difficult question. The question who is a Jew, it's a very complicated issue, and there's not just one clear answer. Basically, in Israel, a Jew is somebody that is recognized by either the rabbis here in Israel, and we have an establishment of rabbis. We have a chief rabbinate in Israel. So if they are recognized by the chief rabbinate from one hand, or if they are recognized as Jews by a Jewish community out of Israel. Now, in both cases, they are not recognized.
Israelis shunned the black Hebrews for decades, until this Palestinian attack in 2002. Six people were shot dead, including the first black Hebrew to have been born in Israel. He'd been hired as the singer at a bat mitzvah celebration. Na, 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 Hoshienu,
Yahosei. When he was killed, we buried him here.
His father, Prince Elkanan ben Shaliach, says the shared tragedy brought the black Hebrews together with the rest of the country.
It opened doors, opened a lot of doors. It was an awakening. It was on the part of the government to make some changes, because the Israeli community didn't know that it was that bad.